One of the biggest challenges learning Spanish is verb conjugation. It can be very intimidating, and the struggle is real to remember the correct form of a verb. If you're just starting out to learn Spanish, here are the 20 essential Spanish verbs that you should focus on first. You can start making a lot of sentences with the verbs in this video, and you can focus on learning the present, past, and future conjugations to make it easier and faster for you. Spanish has two helping verbs, estar and haber. Estar is used in the progressive tenses. It's one of the forms of the verb to be. It's used with gerunds, the ing verbs in English, to describe ongoing actions. For example, estoy estudiando. I am studying. In Spanish, what we consider the ing verbs end in ando or yendo. As a non-helping verb, estar is also one of the most used verbs in Spanish. Estoy feliz. I'm happy. Estoy triste. I'm sad. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? So, generally speaking, estar should be one of the first verbs you learn. The next helping verb in Spanish is haber, which means to have. To have as in the helping verb to form perfect tenses. For example, he viajado mucho. I have traveled a lot. ¿Has comido? Have you eaten? So this is going to be helpful in forming the perfect tenses. I actually have an ebook with the most common verbs in Spanish. I'll leave you the link in the description if you'd like to learn more about it. Let's take a look at some other core verbs. So we already saw estar as one of the forms of to be. The second form is ser, and we use ser to talk about more permanent traits or to talk about identity. For example, soy estudiante. I am a student. Ella es mi hermana. She is my sister. So just like in English, the verb to be is one of the main verbs used in normal daily conversations, ser and estar become that in Spanish. I also have a video explaining how to use ser and estar because those are two verbs that are easily confused. The next verb is tener, which means to have. So this is when we talk about possession. But in Spanish, we use it for age and certain expressions. For example, tengo un gato. I have a cat. Tengo 30 años. I'm 30 years old. Tengo hambre. I'm hungry. So in Spanish, we use tener when we want to say, I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, I'm thirsty. It's more like, I have hunger, I have thirst. But that's the common expression to use. Tengo hambre. The next verb is ir, to go. For example, voy al supermercado. I'm going to the supermarket. So we use the present tense for an ongoing action. Vamos a la playa. We're going to the beach. The next verb is hacer, which means to do or to make. So we use hacer like those verbs, but we also use it to talk about the weather and other expressions. For example, hago ejercicio. I exercise. Hace calor hoy. It's hot today. Then we have decir, which means to say or to tell. For example, él dice la verdad. He tells the truth. Te digo la respuesta. I'm telling you the answer. The next verb is dar, to give. For example, te doy un regalo. I give you a gift. Ella me dio su número. She gave me her number. Then we have ver, to see. For example, ¿ves eso? Do you see that? Vi una película. I saw a movie. The next verb is tomar, which can mean to take or to drink. Tomo café. I drink coffee. Toma el autobús. He takes the bus. We then have llegar, to arrive. For example, llegamos tarde. We arrived late. Llego a casa a las 6. I get home at 6. The next verb is pensar, to think. For example, pienso en ti. I'm thinking about you. ¿Qué piensas? What do you think? Then we have saber, to know facts or how to do something. For example, sé la respuesta. I know the answer. ¿Sabes nadar? Do you know how to swim? And then we have conocer, which also means to know, but it's to know people or places. Conozco a María. I know María. ¿Conoces esta ciudad? Do you know this city? So those are important verbs. In this next section, we'll take a look at some Spanish verbs that are similar in function to modal verbs in English. In Spanish, every verb needs to be conjugated. So we have, for example, poder. It means can or to be able to. In English, we don't change can, but in Spanish, we do have to conjugate poder to the correct person. For example, puedo hablar español. I can speak Spanish. ¿Puedes ayudarme? Can you help me? The next one is querer, which means to want or to love. Quiero una pizza. I want a pizza. Te quiero. I love you or I like you. Then we have deber, which means should or must. Debes estudiar. You should study. Debo irme. I must go. The next one is tener que. The verb conjugation is the same as the verb tener, which we already saw before, but we're adding que here and it means to have to. So it's an obligation. Tengo que trabajar. I have to work. Tienes que dormir. You have to sleep. The next one is also one we saw before, ir a. And it means going to, from to go. But it's to talk about a future intention. For example, voy a viajar mañana. I'm going to travel tomorrow. ¿Vas a estudiar? Are you going to study? And the last verb that we're going to talk about today is gustar, which means to like. This verb works a bit differently in Spanish because it actually means something pleases you. For example, me gusta el café. I like coffee. ¿Te gustan los perros? Do you like dogs? I already have a couple of videos talking about this verb, and I'll leave you the link on the description. I also have a few videos in the channel with verb conjugations for all of these verbs actually, and I'll leave you the link on the description as well. With just these verbs, you can build hundreds of useful sentences in Spanish, affirmative, negative, and questions. So if you're just starting out, make sure you know them, make sure you understand how to use them, and put them to use. There are, of course, many other verbs in Spanish, but start with this. It will feel less intimidating. Once you know them, just move on to the next one. And to learn more Spanish, go watch this video next. Muchas gracias.